Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, relax, and let's chat about the astrology, the human design, or the energy signature for the week ahead. Happy Monday, by the way. If you are joining me this morning and feeling a little slow or a little like you aren't quite energetically up to being awake and up and at 'em yet, there's a good reason for that. This morning early, the moon moved into void of course, which occurred at 4:14 a.m. my time on the West Coast, and that would put it at 7:14 on the East Coast, and it will stay that way until about 1:20 this afternoon, 4:20 for you on the East Coast. So a good chunk of the day, we have the energy moving very slowly. And the moon in void, of course, means she is not making connections to any other planets before she actually is going to switch from one sign to the other. So it means that things slow down. It means that we don't get to get things done in the same way that we think we normally can. So starting a Monday morning kind of slow may make you think that there's something wrong with you. You did too much this weekend, or you're tired, or you're just, lethargic. It isn't you. It is the moon in her void of course. In the sign of Scorpio, it is already water energy. We feel like we're slogging through things. We may feel a little emotional this morning. Don't take that too seriously. At 1:20 this afternoon or 4:20 if you're on the East Coast, the moon will move out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius. So we have optimism restored. We'll have our energy restored, our creative energy, our actual energy of being able to do things, our momentum restored. Well, there's everybody. I was wondering where you all were this morning. Debbie Hedden, good morning to you. Laura Hammer, good morning to you. Mimi, good morning. And Rebecca, good morning. Patricia, good morning. Debbie Tibbetts, Tumiel, good morning. Happy Mardi Gras, still until a week from Tuesday. It's a long-term party, I guess, right? And I'm all for that. Carry on. But just know that, at least for today, be a little cooler, calmer, collected. It's a void of course kind of day. Now, for those of you who are just joining us and maybe you didn't hear me at the very beginning as I launched right in this morning to being happy Monday, but it being a void of course day, which means we are slower moving. We are not able to get things kind of up and running in the same way. Our engines may be a little bit slower this morning. Try not to force anything to happen, because if you do, you're just going to end up frustrated or angry and upset, and it is not going to be pretty, right? So don't do that. Just kind of go like water does, where the energy is open for you to go to, right? That means, how water flows, the path of least resistance. You yourself are a good chunk made of water, so follow the path of least resistance. Go where the flow is taking you. Later in the afternoon, the trigger of the void of course moon is over, and you might be able to see how you can pick up and plan for a more productive Tuesday, perhaps. Good morning, Natasha. It's good to see you down there. Debbie says, I could use another down day too. Definitely did a lot this weekend. This is your perfect day then, Debbie. This is the perfect day. Do some yoga, do some meditation, just sit and chill, turn on a good movie, go outside and sit in your garden, whatever it is that you want to do. It's a little cold here for us to do that, but I, interestingly enough, had to close my blinds this morning, turn off the typical light behind me because it was so bright in here. I was totally washed out in the light. Not usual for us. It just was a beautiful, bright, sunny day, but very clear and cold. So I love that the sun is out and that it's that beautiful, but it made it difficult for me to try to figure out the lighting for this morning's broadcast. In fact, I'm looking at myself now going, wow, you look really washed out. Did you forget to put your makeup on? At any rate, what is going on this week? Besides today, we have some really good information for the week ahead. And I'm going to start something new this week, and that is I'm going to start breaking down the energy for you in categories. Let's play scattergories, right? I'm going to break it down into relationships, money or abundance, health, work, spiritual concerns or your spirit, and maybe other categories as I move forward with this, because I noticed that some weeks there's a lot going on, right? That moon, she is a aspect when she moves into certain signs like Capricorn right now, or any like Aries or Cancer or Libra, then there's just like sparks flying around the chart. And all of that is great, except that, you get sort of a mix match or a hodgepodge of energies, right? One transit could be telling you, yay, it's good, all systems go. The next one could be telling you, no, slow down, wait. And that can be kind of confusing. So, in a moment of brilliance this morning, about 10 minutes before we went live, I got this idea of breaking things down into easier bite-sized chunks, if you will, and that would be putting it into the areas of your life. So I may stumble a bit as I go through this because since it came so close to the time of our getting together this morning, I haven't worked it through completely. So you may get some of the usual, but you may also see that I can get some of the newer way of doing this. And of course, this week we end the month of February and we enter into a new month, the month of March. So let me just give some information really quickly. On Wednesday at 4:15 p.m., I had to change the time a bit. We will have the March astrology webinar. I am going to break down the month of March very much like this into chunks of relationship, money, health, work, and spiritual matters, and give you an idea of what to plan for the entire month of March. And there are key things happening in March that you will definitely want to know about. For instance, Mercury, its first retrograde of 2019. We have the planet Uranus moving for final time into Taurus, where it will stay for the next 7 years. And so you'll want to know about how some of these things are going to affect you in your personal life. This is your opportunity at a webinar like this to bring your personal chart and move through your own chart with me while I talk about what it is that is going on for the month. Then you'll know how you are meant to handle what's going on. So that will be Wednesday, 4:15 p.m. Pacific time and 7:15 p.m. East Coast time. Plan for about an hour to an hour and a half with questions. So that depends on people and if they have questions, but an hour for the webinar itself. The registration information is on the website or the Facebook page here. It is also in the newsletter that was sent out yesterday to everybody on my mailing list. If you want to know how to find it and you have trouble finding it, just hit me up on Facebook or on Messenger or email and let me know that you need the link. Okay, so that is Wednesday. And then, of course, this is a short month, so it means Friday we begin the month of March. So we dive right into a new month and new energy as part of this report here for the week. So if we first take a look at what is happening today, we have, of course, the moon void, of course, but later in the day, the moon begins to affect Mercury and Venus in positive ways. So it makes me think that, first of all, early in the morning was when the moon moved void, of course. So at 4:15 my time or 4:14 a.m. means that right now I'm in the void. So starting new things, not necessarily a great idea. So that's why I'm saying can kind of be a test and see how we do with this kind of arrangement of the energies. The first thing I want to go to is relationships, because this is a week of Venus. We have Venus active this week in many different ways. First of all, today, after the void, she is in a sextile to the moon. A sextile means that our values and our emotions and our relationships are all emotionally nicely connected. So we don't necessarily have conflict and confrontation, although, in some cases that may be depending on your personal chart. But for the most part, we have a wonderful flow of the emotional energy of love and the energies in our relationships, whether that be family, your love interests, or even your friends or coworkers. So we start the week out with a really good Venus energy. But later in the week, we have a money flag going on with our dear planet Venus. She's changing signs later in the week. On the 1st of March, Friday, she changes out of the sign of Capricorn, where she's been wearing her, very businesslike garb for the last 6 weeks or 4 weeks. 4 weeks. And now she's going to be wearing much more of her funky outfits in the sign of Aquarius. She has the energy of eccentricity, of inventiveness, of uniqueness, of excitement, of change coming as we move to the end of the week. Unfortunately for us, though, that puts, our money, our relationships, and our values in a position of being sort of impulsive, where we may impulse buy. In fact, as I wrote up as I was yesterday writing up the week's energy, I realized there were two big things that were happening. One on Friday that takes us into Venus squaring Uranus and Venus's ingress, a new word for you all, movement into a new sign. That's the word ingress. And both of these telling us that we need to watch impulse buying. So make sure that if you are buying something big, or if you have a big money expenditure coming out this week, that it has real value to you, and that it isn't just a momentary thing that you wanted, right? The next shiny object. Oh, I'd love to have that. And then you find out you've spent a lot of money or invested a lot of time and energy into something that wasn't really true and right for you. So we want to take care of that. It could mean, maybe I'll tell you what gets me often is these wonderful programs, right? You get these email sales letters that are 10 pages long, which I can't stand. You will never see me doing something like that. You're scrolling through, you can't even get to the bottom line dollar amount because there's so much gobbledygook that they're talking about. And you get to the end and it is $300, $400, $600,000, right? Sometimes even more than that. I saw a program the other day that was like $5,000. And I was like, yowza, that's a lot of money. But on an impulse with the right combination of sales techniques and this kind of openness to wanting to spend and get and finding value in things that maybe you normally don't find value in, you may be tempted to overspend. So watch that this week. And I was like, I was really interested in this because this is the week that my husband's company sends out profit sharing bonuses, and it would be very interesting to watch. Last year's my husband impulse bought, which it turned out to be a good thing, but a very expensive bicycle. And I was like, this year, don't you dare do that, right? Don't do it. And now I know why, because inside there is this knowing that impulse buying is a big problem this week. Now, I want to look at health because health is also interesting for the week, and it takes us to human design. So I want to show you, this is the Just Now human design chart for today, February 25th. It is the beginning of the new human design week, and the sun and the earth are at the gate 37 for the sun and 40 for the earth. This is the channel right here, right? It connects our emotional center to our will center. And here is where the health challenges may pop up for most of you this week. And I say most of you rather honestly, because the will center here is only rightly defined by about 1/8 of the population. The rest of you, 7/8 of you, have this open. And now suddenly it is defined for the week. You may be very tempted to use willpower and force your way into making things happen, or force your way into doing things that are not correct for you. Now, on the other end of things, you may also find yourself forced by conditioning in the outer world on you. Wow, did that get really bright or something here? Because I'm seeing, I hit my bright button on my computer. So we want to be very careful this week, right? Because, for instance, I have a defined will center always. So this isn't going to be a big effect for me, but I'm in the minority of people that have that. Most of you have the open will center. And so now suddenly it being turned on can mean that you are suddenly using this willpower energy in the lowest extreme. It's exhaustion, and it is going to take you out. Right? This is energy where you just keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing. And we have this for the next 5 or 6 days. So if you're pushing for that number of days, what's going to happen? Your body is going to wear down. Now, in our human design sun-earth relationship, remember, I always think of the earth as, because our feet are planted here, that it is where the challenge arises from for us in the week. Now, the The earth is at the gate 40, and the 40 is the one that is sitting on the will center, right? Here's gate 40 right here, and this is gate 37. So the sun is down here at 37, and the earth is at gate 40. So it is the actions you may take here on the earth that will be the ones that lead to exhaustion. But the other thing that I think may show up for people this week are digestive issues. This particular gate is huge in terms of the body and its ability or inability, as it were, to digest food and energy and liquids in an appropriate way. So we may find all kinds of tummy trouble if you are especially doing things that are incorrect for you. Using your willpower incorrectly, your body will pay the price, and it will likely show up in either burnout symptoms or the feeling of exhaustion or weakness, and in the stomach or the digestive area of your body. It means that stomach ache, ulcers, acid reflux, maybe diarrhea, maybe constipation, depending on how it is that your body is set up and how it is that you are using or not using the energy correctly. So that is what you would want to watch out for this week as far as your health is concerned. Now, the shadow here, the shadow at the gate 40, where the earth is sitting, is exhaustion. And in exhaustion, it also leads us to weakness. And I want to say that this arises, first of all, from the incorrect use of will that we said, right? But also when we end up being pushed by other people to commit our energy to things that are not correct for us. And I think I've told you guys many times, I have this friend who likes to say still at times that, she likes to work with people. She only wanted to work with people who said yes to everything, right? Yes to life, yes to doing things, and yes to everything. But in the real world, that is not the right use of your energy. Saying yes to everything can create exhaustion and pulls you off your path. Puts you in that person's path, perhaps, right? It might be correct for that person, and that's, that person's excitement and that person's energy that is, open to that, but it may be the absolute incorrect thing for you, but you may be fooled this week because of where the earth is sitting. So you're actually challenged to stay on path, to stay on your path, which means then that it's important for you to use your type, your strategy, and your authority appropriately. Right? Your type is a generator, manifesting generator, a manifester, a projector, or a reflector. And your strategy then is how each one of those types enter into activities in the world. Authority tells you what your final decision making is. Is it intuition? Is it emotion? Is it your willpower? Because in some cases it is will. And is it your sacral or your root center? So no, it wouldn't be root center, it's your sacral center. So if that's, if you know how it is that you make decisions, then you will be somewhat protected from taking these incorrect actions and getting yourself into these projects and things, programs, or activities that are not correct for you, right? So there's this need this week to really know thyself. That is my huge thing that I wish for everybody, is that they know themselves, because otherwise you can get drawn in to other people's energy signatures and you end up living your life inauthentically and not in your own authority. And when the sun comes around or the earth comes around to places like it is this week, then you become challenged physically. And of course, that can also be challenged emotionally and mentally or psychically, right? It all kind of watersheds into health issues all over. And let's see here. The other issues, relationship issues, let's go to that, because the sun sitting at gate 37 on the emotional center is really in the Gene Keys book. Richard Rudd calls this the gate of family alchemy. And in its lowest frequency, it takes the energy of family or tribe or community. This is tribal energy, by the way. And takes it into its lowest frequency of survival of the fittest. So here's where the energy of weakness can come in. And it is very much the survival of the fittest, being that not just what Darwin's theory was, but the strongest, only the strong survive kind of idea. And that takes us to the core issue on the planet, which is the overabundance of the masculine energy. And I don't mean of man and woman, I'm talking about energy, just the masculine energy. And that masculine energy predisposing us to competing in a way that even for resources, for time, for the energy that's available, by being the strongest or having the most toys, you win. So, and what that is out of balance by is the feminine energy that has been low on the balance. And so the rising of the yin energy is helping to bring that into balance. And I know there's many people out there, and I hear it all the time, where they think that the feminine energy is rising to overtake the masculine and return us from patriarchy into matriarchy. But that isn't the correct use of this energy either. This is the masculine and the feminine coming into balance or harmony. Gate 37 in human design is called the gate of harmony. We are creating harmony, a harmony and a balance, moving away from the survival of the fittest or only the strong succeed, and balancing that with the need to take care of the weakest links in our society, our children. Some would say the women. The women in many countries don't have the same kinds of rights or standing as we do in this country. And even in this country, think of how often we have to scrape and scrabble to get what the masculine side of things has already. So we lost our birthright somewhere, and now it is a week where we're going to see that righted a bit. And it was interesting because I never do this, but I watched the Oscars last night. I watched the Oscars only because the opening 10 minutes was going to be songs by Queen. And I wanted to watch that part, right? But somehow I got drawn into the whole thing, and it was really interesting to watch the dynamic of the divine feminine as women, and Black women in particular, winning awards and being recognized for the work that they do, and hopefully not because they were women that they won this award, but truly based on the work that they've been doing and being acknowledged for the work that they were doing. And not that men weren't acknowledged either, they were, but it was nice to see this balance and this valuing of both that was going on. And so anyway, Oscars, I don't normally watch them, but it was interesting to see that last night, especially because I had just written this whole piece about the week's energy and saw that that was going to be one of the potentials here. So, let's see what else is going on this week. Let me check in with everybody and see how everyone's doing here. Debbie, Natasha, Thank you, Natasha. You're very sweet. Michelle Brooks, good morning. Linda Dennis, she says, yay, I'm up. Good. Laura loves the category idea. I do too. I wish I had thought of it sooner, but maybe I'll be able to work it through, tomorrow, especially because I'll have now sat with it and be able to see how that works out. I still have a couple more categories I want to talk about. Mimi says, great idea. Thank you, Mimi. And good morning. Good morning. Glorious here, but void of course moons means I can just chill. Yes, you can, because you are in Bulgaria, I would bet. So you're already in the chill of this void of course moon. And she says, ooh, exciting categories. Diane Pegram, looking forward to March. Cha-cha changes. Absolutely. Good morning, Asa. Good morning, Jacqueline. And good morning to Janice. My license came through as predicted by your guest a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, I don't remember her name. Was it the angel? Was it Trudy Griswold? Would the angel speak? Did she do an angel reading for you, Janice? Because I think that might be what it was. Good morning, Vicki. Thanks for sharing yourself with us as well. Asa, if someone has the will center defined, would that person have digestive issues on a regular? So I got to tell you, Asa, thank you for that question, because yesterday I'm in my pajamas, right? So I do this on Sunday mornings. I get up and I write, and every time I do this, I'm like, why didn't you do this on Wednesday or Thursday? Why are you at the last minute writing this, right? And then suddenly I got this notion that I had to stop what I was doing, stop writing, and go and get my Gene Keys book and look deeper into these gates 40 and 37, because I knew I had that entire channel. And lately, Asa, I have had digestive issues, waking up in the middle of the night, with acid up in my throat and coughing and gagging and me going, what the heck is going on? And having, just feeling like when I eat or something that there's just food sitting here, that it isn't going anywhere. And me going, what is that all about? And then when I picked up the Gene Keys book, when I followed that impulse that said, go get the book, go get this and read deeply, even though I knew I didn't have the time to do it. Really, I wanted to get this done. I wanted to get this written and out into the world. And I had to take the time to, and the Gene Keys, it's not easy reading. This is not like, oh, just la, 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 I'm done. Oh yeah, I get it. No, it's contemplative, right? So I'm sitting here and I pick up 40 first because I know I have a defined will center, and it's defined because of gate 40. And when I read that, I was just astounded. I was astounded, and I'll tell you why. Because there's something else that goes on with gate 40. And some of you out there who are suddenly at the feeling the energy of gate 40 may realize that you get drawn into things that other people want you to do. And then you sort of get in this role of continually giving away your energy. And I didn't tell you guys this, but I had this aha last week while I was in the shower, of course. It's always where my ahas come, except this morning I wasn't in the shower and they came, but kind of weird, but it's okay. There's a lot of water energy available today. But in the shower, I thought, I give away way too much of myself. And and then I wonder why it is that I struggle to, maintain this as a business. And I know that is, in the process, I'm in the process of working that through and changing that dynamic. But ultimately what happens is it wears away at your energy, your vital chi, if you will. In Chinese medicine, the Chinese believe you have vital chi that you're born with. I think they call it prenatal chi or natal chi, something like that. And it is, what energy you come here with. And then you have the environmental chi, the energy that you pick up from your environment, from the transiting planets, if you will, from the just other people, from the world at large. And sometimes if you are overdoing it with the chi from the environment, then it eats into and starts wearing away your vital chi, the chi that you were born with. The vital chi does not replenish, where the environmental chi, and I'm not sure I'm using the right word, but the environmental chi replenishes, right? So we're meant to be using the energy available to us in the outer world, but not digging into our vital chi. The gate 40 will have us digging into our vital chi. And one of the symptoms that you are digging into your vital chi is stomach problems. Burnout symptoms like exhaustion, weakness, feeling tired, feeling lethargic, unmotivated, depression, even melancholy. Some of those energies can be symptoms of burnout. So we have burnout issues, and then we have digestive issues. All warnings that you're getting in there and you're digging at your natal chi or your prenatal chi or your vital chi, whatever you want to call it, and that it tells you that you're using your energy incorrectly. I hope that makes sense to people. Let me know if you guys have questions about that. So long story short, Asa, yes, if you have it defined, you may experience these problems as an ongoing set of symptoms, whereas people who have it open are just experiencing it in the now, because this week that energy is defined by the sun and the earth. Let's see what else. I'm hoping I'm going to be around for the webinar on the 28th. It's actually the 27th, which is Wednesday. And let me tell you, if you sign up for the webinar and you pay for it, of course, and you don't get to watch it live, it's okay. I will record it and it will be sent out by email to the people who've registered and paid for the webinar. So, Janice, yes, so it was her. Aha, she's awesome. Mimi, the divine feminine is joyfully being recognized. Absolutely, absolutely. And recognized in a way that hasn't been valued on this planet in a very long time. And I find that very interesting. What I found really interesting, though, last night was sort of the absence of certain people For example, the movie Bohemian Rhapsody would have really probably been up there for Best Director as well if it wasn't for the fact that the director has been an alleged sex molester and all kinds of abuse energies or abuse. Um, People claiming abuse anyway. I don't know if it's been proved yet or not, but so he was removed from the movie the last 3 weeks of filming it. So that movie was not up for Best Director, when in reality it was probably one of the best well-directed movies ever. But we've got to balance out this energy that of the, masculine abusing its position, its power, not men necessarily, the masculine energy being abused on this planet and having to be balanced with the feminine. Rebecca, loving these energies rising within us, and it goes so well with what you and Cornelia talked about with the divine masculine. Absolutely. I mean, the divine masculine has to show up in his own healthy way as well as the divine feminine. I mean, both. We need both. We aren't balanced without both. So we need both of the masculine and the feminine to show up with their strengths. And it's interesting, one of the two gene keys, and I want to say it is the 37, which is where the sun is this week, is talks about the fact that for the last millennium or so, the feminine has been in service to the masculine, which is upside down. Right? It's upside down. It's the wrong way. It already skews us to polarization to have that happen. It is the divine masculine that should be in service to the feminine energy. And it's very clear in your human design chart. So if you look at your human design, these two channels, the one from here at gate 27 leading over to gate 50 in the spleen, and which is the feminine, this is the feminine side of the tribal circuitry. And over here, gate 59 to gate 6 is the divine masculine, right? The divine masculine is here. It is about procreation, right? That gate 59 is about sex and procreation, fertility, and being able to keep the tribe healthy by procreating, right? And it meets up with impact over here, gate of intimacy, the gate 6. That's a very protective gate. So it's the role of the divine masculine to procreate, to be involved in procreation and protection of the tribe and the values of the tribe and the territory of the tribe in some cases, right? That's how this evolved. It is the divine feminine, however, that holds the energy at gate 50 of laying down the laws that says these are the values that our tribe has, and these are what will be passed on to our progeny. And in that is also the rules about nurturing, taking care of, feeding, clothing, teaching, the health of the tribe is by the feminine energy. So it is the feminine that enacts the laws, the rules, the values, and the masculine that goes out and says, it is so. We will make it so. But it's been turned upside down, right? So no wonder our society and our civilization is ill, because we have those roles reversed, right? The feminine has been, pushed down. And that feminine energy, when it's pushed down, is not setting up the values of the tribe. It may be in your family, right? If you think about who carried out punishment in your home, right? If, mom, I remember mom, wait until your father gets home. And, and that was like, oh, now I've done it. She's going to have to get dad involved. And that means I'm getting grounded or whatever, right? Because there was a violation of the rules of the home that were taken and put down by the mother, the feminine. So it's really interesting to see, in our family units, at one point we had that very clear. But in the outer world, in the wider world of politics, in the world of education, in the world of health, in almost any way that you look at it, it has been the exact opposite, right? It's been upside down. And in that, if that tells you why our society is in the situation it's in, we have not honored the divine feminine. And in a way, the divine feminine has allowed the masculine to run away with this. We got to do it the other way, right? We've got to get it turned around. Good morning, Lynn. Joining late, may not be able to stay, but good morning and a wonderful show. Have a great day, sweetheart. I have gate 40, and that is true about being drawn in. Yep. Asa says she has 40 defined too, and have had all those symptoms lately. And absolutely, right? Janice, well, that sounds like me. Good thing I'm moving home where I can be replenished. The ocean will do that to you, Janice. Natasha, I so agree with you about the outer energies taking us and trying to balance that with doing Reiki on the food that I do eat. And then I used a mantra, I'm digesting my life. I'm digesting my life. I'm digesting my life. And at the same time, I'm putting energy into my core center. I hope this helps others. Absolutely. Jacqueline, I don't get paid until the end of the month either, the 27th or 28th. How much is the webinar? $20. Forgot to say that. It's 20. Colleen, so late, but good morning. It's nice to see you out there. Rebecca, light bulb. Unfortunately, I've been using too much of my inner chi. Thank you for clarifying. Awesome. It is. It's really amazing when that light bulb comes on like that. And, you know, I would bet, I mean, the human body is not designed for illness. It isn't. I mean, if you think about your body, it's self-contained, right? Within you are all of the component pieces for health and healing. And I mean, your body recognizes other and says, nope, we're going to protect this. We're going to sweep these cells out of here, or we're going to sweep these germs, bacteria, viruses out of here. You may feel sick, but your body is in the process of healing itself. You have healing energy. But when you're donating a lot of your energy into the wrong things in your life, you're depleting your healing ability, right? Because your body has to use the energy in ways that are not natural for it. So that's why this week is so important. The recognition, right, that this is a part of this change, this transformation. And ultimately, the transformation is in play, right? It's in play. And we're sort of waking up late to the party almost, but at least we're waking up, right? We're waking up to that. So the more that we find, this is funny. I watched the show yesterday called The More You Know. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but there's this guy named Danny So, or Danny Co. Either way. But he was talking, he comes on there and he's talking yesterday about almond milk and how to live naturally by, mixing your almond milk with maybe some blueberries or turmeric. He made another one with strawberry, dehydrated strawberry. And I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, these things are so easy, such easy ways to bring good quality food or nutrition into your body that supports us while we're in this mass transformation that we call ascension, that we call transformation, that we call a new age. While all of that is happening, we can do things that support ourselves. In one way that we can support ourselves is by the food we put in our bodies, but then also using the energy that that food provides for you in a manner that is correct for you. So it's an amazing opportunity for us to get right with ourselves this week energetically. All right. Now, let's take a look at spirit this week, right? The spiritual you this week has a crisis of consciousness upcoming. The crisis of consciousness happens when the moon gets to the final square before its new phase. So it's the last quarter moon, they would call it, I think, on calendars. My calendar up there doesn't really call it anything. In fact, it doesn't even note the moon. How rude. How funny. I'm going to have to change my calendar. So the last quarter moon is when the moon is in a square, a 90-degree angle, or a challenge to the sun. And in the path of the moon from new, right, we get this energy of new intentions, of a portal or a gateway that opens up for new opportunities for us, a new way of being. Then we get the first square, the first quarter moon, the first 7 days or the 7th day after the new moon, where we end up in the first square, the crisis of action, where there may be some kind of block in the physical world that shows up, that pushes us off our intended path. And then we get the full moon 7 days after that. 7 days after the full moon, we come to the the square known as the crisis of consciousness. And in this particular point, it's on the inner planes that we are dealing with whatever it is that's stopping us. It could be a belief, it could be a thought, it could be a fear, right? But if it's stopping you from moving forward with what you began with the new moon, then you have to really identify it. You really have to be able to move through it and recognize, is this a fear? Right? If it's a fear, then I need to bust through it anyway, because the energy on the spleen, fear energy on the spleen, is really about just busting through, feeling it and doing it anyway. Is this an intuitive thing? Right? Is this my intuition telling me I took a wrong turn somewhere, that I've been using all of my energy in this direction when I meant for it to go in that direction? Course correction time is essentially what we're looking at. Right? This is a course correction. That is the energy of the moon square sun, which I believe doesn't happen until moon square sun happens on Wednesday, the 27th. How funny is that? Right? The 27th will be at the crisis of consciousness point. And this is a spiritual crisis, right? This is where we haven't been listening to our intuition or to our knowingness, or we're using logic incorrectly, and we have to get right within us, right? So get right with our spirit. There isn't anything particularly outstanding in work or career this week. Nothing big going on with Saturn or Pluto. The usual, the moon, of course, will, conjunct them later in the week on the 28th of February. Actually, I think it's actually March 1st. Pull up March really quickly. It is definitely March 1st. March 1st is going to be a banner day. I think in my write-up for the week, it was that energy that reminded me of that saying, if March comes in like a lion, then it goes out like a lamb, respectfully speaking about the weather, right? If it comes in all blustery and cold or windy or stormy, then the end of March, you go out with beautiful weather. But I thought about the same thing astrologically, right? Crazy Friday. Friday's the 1st of March, coming in like a bit of a lion. And does that mean it exits like a lamb? And in truth, actually, the 31st of March looks pretty smooth. So it's kind of funny to think of it in that term. But definitely Friday is going to be one of those days for us to watch, with the moon conjuncting both Saturn and Pluto that day. And of course, other things going on, setting us up for a very busy month of March when we look at the astrological weather throughout. All righty. Any other questions, people? Do you have any chi techniques or practices you recommend? Wow, Rebecca, that's a great question. And no, I don't. I have no clue. This is not my area of expertise at all. But now, of course, I'm going to go looking for an expert. And I wonder if it isn't maybe Amy, who I introduced to you guys last Tuesday, because she does Qigong and meditation exercises and things like that that are energetically linked to Qi. So I'm going to ask Amy about that. Qi exercises. Mudras, right? Remember, she gave us a mudra. I don't remember. It was something like this, where you put your thumbs and your four fingers together, your pinky fingers together and your thumbs together, and you open them up like a lotus, right? It's kind of hard to show you what that looks like. So we have this sort of lotus, and putting it at your heart, reminding you to be centered in spirit, centered within yourself. So I know there are other mudras too that she taught us at a class I did with her one weekend actually, designed to overcome fear, designed to help you with your energy. So possibly we can bring her here and talk about those subjects in specific. So there we go. If anybody else has any great ideas, any other people that they know of, I'm open to that. Let me know. You can email me or hit us up in the chat box here, and I'll be happy to talk to people and bring them on to help us with that. If you guys are interested, I'm willing to bring it in. All right. So shall we pull a card for the week? I think that might be a good idea. So I've got the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. Right. I love this deck. And sorry, I was trying to get it away from the glare of my light. There we go. And let's see what kind of card we pull for the week. Maybe I'll pull one of each of my favorite Colette Baron-Reid decks. for us to get a story for the week. So, poised. I don't think we've ever had this card. Number 48, which is a 12, which is a 3, matching our universal year. And isn't she looking beautiful? Look at that. She's just jumping up. It looks like she's in celebration of sorts, right? So let's take a look at 48 and see what that means for us this week. 48, poised. Woo. 47, 48. So being ready, bringing something to light, being at your best, and confidence. So the Oracle's message says you can be assured that you are ready for anything right now. You know what you need to. You know what you need to. Your skills are sharp. You've come to this place armed with wisdom and knowledge, and you sense a new phase of your life about to begin. People respond to your confidence and trust you. This is an auspicious time to begin new things, according to your type and your strategy. All right, let's pick an animal for us for the week. And so I got a story. I did not sleep well last night at all. I don't feel tired for not sleeping, but first of all, I'm lying in bed and I usually braid my hair down the back at night so that my husband isn't eating my hair or I'm not annoyed by my hair. And my hair was still wet from my shower yesterday morning because I just didn't do anything with my hair yesterday. I just shoved it up. And so I'm laying there trying to go to sleep and I can't go to sleep. And I go, okay, it's because my hair is down. I need to braid it. So I get up, I braid my hair. Then I lay back down. Oh, horse spirit is our card for the week for the animals. Freedom is yours. Love it. All right, I'll read that in a minute. So then I braid my hair and I lay back down. I get all cuddled back up and I still can't go to sleep. Now I open my eyes and I see light. I'm like, what in the heck is the light about? So I get up again, go wandering through the house, and I look out. Our front deck lights are all on and the side lights are on. So probably a raccoon or something, right, is what I'm thinking. Instead, what emerges into my field of view is this beautiful deer. She is huge, right? She is huge. And she senses that I'm standing there. Looking at her out the door, and she pricks her ears up and looks over at me, and then she goes psh, and runs the other direction. The lights go out. I lay down again. I get all cuddled up in bed. I don't know what possesses me to open up my eyes. I open up my eyes and I look out the window, and through the slats in my blinds, I can see this planet or a star. And at first I'm like, is that an airplane? And then I'm looking going, but it's not moving. So I open up the drape and look outside, and I think it was probably the planet Mars. It might have been Saturn, but I'm not sure. I didn't have my phone in my hand so I could point it at it and say, what's that? But it was reddish, so it was either Antares or it was actually the planet Mars. Like, why would that suddenly make me look at it? Then I go to sleep. About an hour and a half later, I wake up because I hear paper rattling. I'm like, what is that? Well, I have this wall to my left over here where I have different pieces of paper where I've been outlining things for my business and what have you. And one side of it had come undone, the tape. And so I heard the paper as it, was crinkling up against itself. And then I go to sleep, and about 2 hours later, now it's like 5:18. I wake up because now the other piece of tape has given and it's, gone to the floor, and I heard it all crackle down onto the floor. So, I mean, really and I get up at 6. So I went back to sleep and woke up at 6:16 this morning. So I was a little late, but last night was just one of those nights where there was the sensitivity I think I had to the environment last night, where why would I just suddenly wake up and know that I had to braid my hair, or that I needed to get up and I saw light and have to go look for what's making the light turn on, or the planet Mars, or whatever it was out there. It was just a weird night. Noticing what's going on in your environment, though. The horse is number 33, by the way. So double threes, 3-3. And let's see what it says. When horse spirit appears, you are gifted with the spirit of movement and freedom. It is a time for travel and adventure, whether that means a trip somewhere or taking a different type of journey, one of freedom of choice. Horse spirit reminds you that no matter the circumstances, you have free will and choices that can take you far away to a better place, a better situation, a better state of being. For there is no one but you to rein in your will to make a different decision. You are capable of making powerful choices that will affect you for a long time to come. That is gate 37 and 40 right there, right? Horses are social animals and known to be a friend to mankind, willing to carry us forward when we need it. Horse spirit reminds you that help will be available to you whenever you need it, and companions will be by your side wherever you choose to go, whatever direction you choose to travel. Life is an adventure, and horse spirit wants you to know that whatever your choices you make, you have great spirit within, invisible yet holding you up and always walking by your side. If your inquiry is about a relationship, you can set your heart free to experience love in all forms. Spirit whispers to you that the gift of freedom is yours if you allow yourself to break out of your perfectionism and stubbornness. Make a move and enjoy the freedom of letting go of the need to control. Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. And let's see, let's do the wisdom of Avalon. Might as well do the trifecta here. See if we get a fairy to join us, an animal to join us, or a signpost along the way for the week, right? Sounds very Scorpio to me, Scorpio moon to me. Indeed, indeed, indeed. It's always amazing to me how the cards tend to validate the energies that we're talking about. Ooh, I get the queen. Ooh, and I had her kind of like this. So queen, she says it's woman, fertility, feminine power, sexuality, and friendships, card number 4. I find that interesting, the fact that the card is a 4, which is a foundation number, right? It's a foundation, feminine as the foundation energy. Think about that. So the queen represents feminine energy, and the card says, fertility, beauty, female sexual energy, earthly pleasures, and friendships among women. The queen summons you to bestow her gifts upon you so that you can revel in the beauty of life. The queen appears to remind you of the importance of self-esteem, self-worth, and holding your head high. Now is the time to set boundaries with others. Oh, yes, I forgot about that. That's another component of the 4037 is healthy boundaries. It's kind of implied in that idea of holding your energy and applying your energy appropriately. So thank you, Queen, for that reminder. Now is the time to set boundaries with others with gentle authority, yet try not to be so isolated from them in the process. The Queen knows how to delegate authority when she needs to. Summon your inner queen and ask for what you need. The queen also asks whether you're having fun. Maybe you need to read a good book with a cup of cocoa, go to the spa, make plans with your pals. Look after yourself and remember to nurture your friendships. The queen knows that she needs allies in the world to sustain her, and in return, she shares her wealth with you. If you're inquiring about a specific female and your relationship to her, the queen stands to represent her, which will bode well or not so well, depending on which other cards flank her. That's if we were doing a card reading. The other cards, if we want to say flanking them, were freedom and poise, right? So I think those would be good cards flanking. This card also represents pregnancy, either as a metaphor or as the true miracle of life itself. The queen is always a powerful omen and ally. Well, so I think those are great cards for us to end on this Monday morning. Any questions out there, anybody? Let's see if I scroll through here. Yeah, Rebecca, I don't know that we talked too much about Chi on that broadcast from last week. We were really talking about the trip, the spiritual trip, meditation retreat that she was doing to Peru. But I will definitely talk to her about coming back on the show here for us to talk about that. All right, everybody. I don't see any other questions or any concerns. I will be here tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time. What is that, 11 a.m. on the East Coast? I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful start to your week. Remember, the moon is void, of course. Don't get frustrated if things don't work out the way you think they should. Relax and enjoy the day. Do something else while you're waiting for that energy to return. All right. Talk to you later. Bye, everybody.